How many watches is the proper amount for a collection? 3, 6, 12? Or is there even a best size at all? I think there is, and I'm going to prove it. First, I'll set some upper and lower bounds on what's reasonable, and then I'll explain what number I think is best. Following that, I'll discuss what's best for your collection and what to do if you find yourself with too many watches. Let's begin by setting some constraints. Even though I respect the idea of owning just one watch, I maintain that a singular watch is not a collection, despite what other creators will tell you. You lose the two biggest advantages of having a collection: variety and the ability to curate watches for different wearing situations. So right away, we can set an absolute lower bound on a watch collection above 1. Now for the upper bound. This one is a bit trickier, as a collection can really be any size, and there are certainly collectors with hundreds or even thousands of watches in extreme cases. But at that point, what's the purpose? Watches are meant to be worn. If you're not wearing them, you're not really collecting, but more of someone who just enjoys owning things or having a display of watches. That's fine if you enjoy that, but that's another goal entirely. For this discussion, I'm asserting that any watches you consider to be in your main collection should get regular wear time. Now, what constitutes regular wear time? It's subjective, but I think once a month is a fair cutoff. That's a minimum of 12 wears per year per watch. This gives us an absolute upper bound of at most 30 watches. Roughly one different watch every day of each month. So now we've got a range of more than 1 and at most 30. We can do a lot better than this though, as these are only the absolute constraints and not what I consider to be reasonable ones. Let us go back to the lower end. The next natural step up from 1 watch is 3. This is the amount I really start considering to be a collection. You're diversifying and have the ability to wear different watches for a few different occasions. This has its own issues, but I'll get to those in a moment. For now, let us set a reasonable lower constraint of 3 watches. Earlier, I arrived at an upper bound of 30 by assuming each watch gets equal wear time. In reality, you're never going to wear each watch you own evenly. You'll connect more with your favorites in your collection and wear those more. Most collectors follow a pattern where one watch gets the most wear time, a few get more frequent usage, and the rest trail off to an even amount. This is best described by a form of exponential decay that's fairly common in natural and social systems, a power law distribution. Take my current collection and wearing preferences so far in 2026. I've worn watch 1 significantly more than my other watches, followed by watch 2 that's more than the others by a bit less, and so on. Say we fit that power law to a collection's wear time over a year, and still require the least worn watch to be used at least once per month. Something interesting happens. With this typical rank frequency preference, the collection size would be 12 watches. In simple terms, if your average collector intends for every watch to get meaningful wrist time, they shouldn't exceed a collection size of 12 watches. Thus, we have set the reasonable bounds of a collection at between 3 and 12 watches. But reasonable isn't the same as optimal, and I think this range can be defined even further to the perfect collection size. If you enjoy this sort of analytical approach to watches, consider subscribing. I post a new video every week and love to see the discussions in the comments. We just passed 100 subscribers, and the next goal is reaching 500. Thanks. I believe that the perfect size collection for most enthusiasts is between 6 and 10 watches, with an ideal landing around 8. Here's why. 8 watches gives the perfect balance of variation, preferences, and uniqueness while still staying focused and practical. Having a smaller collection lends itself to owning more versatile, do-it-all pieces, and the smaller the collection, the more so this tends to be the case. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does limit how expressive your collection can be. On the other hand, owning too many watches causes a collection to lose focus, and each individual piece is less significant and special to you. The 6 to 10 range forces purchasing decisions to be more mindful and deliberate, but still gives you room for your own unique style to shine through. Furthermore, 8 watches allows for a wide range of categories if checking boxes is your thing. You can have a collection with a chronograph, diver, GMT, dress watch, beater, versatile go-anywhere piece, unconventional watch, and one for a special occasion. Beyond watch styles, you have just the right amount of choices for sizes, colors, and brands without unnecessary bloat and overlap. On the practical side, there are 7 days in a week. With 8 watches, you can have a different watch for each day, with another that you wear less frequently. I find that I prefer having something new to wear each day of the work week, to fit the tone and keep things fresh to be quite nice. On a smaller note, watch boxes are commonly sized at 6, 8, or 10, so collecting to fill out the box is convenient and provides a natural stopping point in this range. So how do you figure out where you fall in that range? Start with your wearing habits. Ask yourself what sort of frequency you wear your different watches at. Are you someone who has a grail or favorite piece that you wear significantly more than your others? That kind of preference creates a steeper drop-off in wearing frequencies among your watches, so tend towards the lower end of that 6 to 10 range. If your wearing rotation is more balanced and democratic, you can justify being closer to 10, since they'll all get a good amount of use. Next, consider your tastes. If your interests are narrow in the styles or colors you prefer, say mostly dive watches or vintage dress pieces for example, you're going to run into overlap quickly. In this case, a smaller collection size is better. The world doesn't need another 12-watch collection consisting entirely of Submariner homages. Try to be diligent in your choices. If you enjoy having a versatile and varied collection covering different styles, of course, being on the larger side is going to make more sense, within reason. You have more room to explore these different styles and interests without creating redundancy within the collection. Now say you've done some introspection and have decided what sort of collector you tend to be, and around the size you want your collection to be. What can you do to put yourself into that ideal range if you're not there already? If you believe your collection is too small, the answer to that seems to be obvious. Buy more watches. I'd argue it isn't so simple though, and a great collection doesn't simply acquire more to have more. And if you find you have too many watches, how do you decide which to call and what makes the cut? The sense of priorities between each individual is going to be different, but by and large I believe that every collector should strive to stay true to a few principles. 1. Collect what you enjoy, but be purposeful about it. First and foremost, collect what you enjoy and what genuinely makes you happy. You know your preferences and what you actually wear better than anyone. Don't let me or some influencer try to tell you what you should or shouldn't like. That being said, you still need to be intentional. The world of watches is massive, with nearly endless options. Unless you have unlimited money, liking something isn't enough. You should love what you get. Take time to figure out what you actually want. Sit with the decision. Just because something catches your interest in the moment doesn't mean it deserves a place in your collection. In my experience, the watches I've lusted over for months or even years end up being far more satisfying than those that I feel the need to have the immediate gratification of buying. 2. Every watch in your collection should be special to you and serve a particular and distinct purpose. With each watch you own or seek to own, ask yourself, how does this piece stand out within my collection? What does it do differently to justify being there? Maybe it was from inheritance, given as a gift, or tied to a specific moment in your life. That alone can be enough justification. But say that there isn't a specific sentimentality associated with it. Does it do enough to warrant ownership? Too often I see collections with the Submariner, GMT Master 2, and Yacht Master for example, that all serve a very similar functional and stylistic purpose. Do you really need 3 blue dive watches with white indices? Try to minimize overlap, and let each watch serve a distinct role or style. It keeps each watch feeling different and fresh, and your collection feeling larger than it actually is because of the variance of each of your options. 3. Watches should be acquired with the intent to keep permanently in the collection. When you're considering a new watch, approach it as if it's going to be a permanent part of your collection, as if selling it isn't even an option. When you think of each acquisition through this lens, you're significantly more deliberate with your decision making. You should be buying for the long term, something that you genuinely connect with and could never imagine selling. If after owning it for a while this isn't the case, you can always get rid of it, but never go into it with that mindset. If you do, you're already admitting the watch isn't essential to your collection. 4. Be realistic. Will you actually wear it? A major theme throughout this video has been the requirement of actually using the watches you own, and for good reason. As much as a watch may appeal to you, and you love the idea of it, ask yourself, when am I actually going to wear this? Some watches sound great on paper, and you romanticize the idea of owning it, only to realize that your lifestyle just doesn't align with it. If you're outside a lot, or work in a rugged environment, maybe a polished gold dress watch isn't for you, no matter how much you may like it. Seek to have a collection of pieces that you actually use and wear. That's what they're for, not to be on display all the time. In the same way, if your collection is too large, keep track of how often you actually wear a watch, and if the cost of owning it really warrants how infrequently you have it on your wrist. While I personally am not a proponent of the one watch collection, I think it's an interesting exercise to imagine what watch could possibly do the job of an entire collection. For me, it'd have to be a model that has great versatility, variety and complications, and the ability to dress up or down from a well-respected brand. Today's obscure reference does exactly that. The Longines Master Complete Calendar Moon Phase is likely the most complicated watch you can get on the used market for below $2,000 US. On this, you're getting a day, pointer date, month, full chronograph with a 12-hour totalizer, moon phase, and a 24-hour indicator that doubles as a GMT. And somehow, Longines has been able to fit this into a 40mm case with great lug-to-lug lengths and without an extremely high thickness, considering how complicated this is. Another great aspect about this watch is its versatility. In general, it leans more on the dressy side, especially so when worn on a leather strap. But put this on a bracelet and I think it can be rather sporty, given its modern sizing and Arabic numerals on the white version. Despite how busy the dial is, I still love the aesthetic and think it looks even better in real life. Its ability to do just about everything would make it a perfect enthusiast choice for owning just one watch. Longines in particular is a brand that is ignored a bit too much in the collector space, and I believe pieces like this prove that they're doing something worth paying attention to, because you're not going to find a watch that does this much for this price from another brand. Special thanks to Hans B94 for the idea for this video. It was one of my favorite videos to make so far, and I hope I get the chance to discuss some other community requested topics in the future. I specifically enjoyed this topic because I feel it's something I feel quite strongly about, more so than others in the collector space. So many collectors get so excited once they discover watches that they buy as many as they can and never take the time to enjoy what they have and to make informed and deliberate decisions about their collection. I personally only have 5 watches in my main collection at the moment, and I found that slowly growing my collection over time has increased the quality and enjoyment of each piece I own considerably. I'm very interested to hear about your collections in the comments, and how you feel about how many watches is too many. Are you looking to expand your collection, or are you trying to downsize? If you are in the market for buying a new watch soon, make sure to watch this video on a huge aspect enthusiasts ignore when buying watches. Thank you for taking the time to watch.